What's up, y'all? Thanks for coming back again. Today we're going to be doing something that I swore that I would never in my life do, which is put a car tire on a motorcycle. And on top of that, we're going to do things a little bit different, and I don't think it's been done before. We're going to be putting a car tire on the rear, and we're going to be putting a car tire on the front. It was very difficult to find a front that would actually fit, and I'm pretty sure that I got something. I ended up finding a donut for $15 at the junkyard. It was the closest size that I could get to a motorcycle front tire, which is about 115 millimeters wide. The front on this calls for a 130, but car tires and motorcycle tires don't really hang out as far as sizing. So I actually probably need about a 110, but we're going to try and cram this 115 on the front. I think it'll work. It just may be a little bit of a pain in the ass to get it on. The rear tire, I found this Nexen tire is pretty easy to find. Got it shipped to my door for about $100. But what I do want to find out today is what all these dark side guys are talking about, which admittedly is a pretty cool name. And if you're not aware, that's what the guys are called that put car tires onto a motorcycle. Now, all of them, every single one of them told me absolutely under no circumstances should I ever put a car tire on the front of a motorcycle. But unluckily for them and me, I'm not very smart at all. So we're going to do that, and we're going to find out what happens. This is just an old gold wing from another video that I got finished doing a couple of months ago. But I do have a video coming out on this particular bike very shortly where we ride 2,000 miles up to Maine and back from a non-running condition. But yeah, I really want to find out what these guys are on about because they tell me that the tires last 60,000 miles. The cost of each individual tire is significantly cheaper. I just cannot imagine that these are going to work very well at all because, car tires are very flat at the top. Don't know how these actually work unless you're going in a straight line or on the highway all the time. I feel like even a regular exit ramp is going to be an issue for these particular tires, even if it's just on the rear. But we'll get into that a little bit more. I want to see what happens. I've got a couple of assumptions here that are already kind of being proven to be false about the car tire on a motorcycle deal. So let me go ahead. I'm going to walk you through a couple of those. We'll stick this rear tire on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. One thing I do want to do before we get really stuck into this, absolutely under no condition should you ever put a car tire on a motorcycle. I am not a smart person, but I am a very curious person, and that's why we're doing this. But yeah, under no circumstances am I recommending that anyone do this. And in fact, you should absolutely do not do this. Just buy a regular motorcycle tire. They're not that expensive. First things first, initial impressions of the tire. This is a fresh, brand new Nexen tire, Nexen. This tire is extremely flexible. I can just deform the whole tire with my thumbs. Now, of course, this is not mounted onto a rim right now. There's no pressure in it. Of course, it's going to be a lot more malleable than whenever you get it onto the motorcycle. But you, in general, can't do this with motorcycle tires for the most part. Unless you've got some very thin, off-road knobbies, then yeah, you can do this kind of thing with it. But I've never experienced a tire that flexes this much on a motorcycle. They're usually pretty stiff. The compound will be soft, but the actual construction of the tire is pretty hard. And the main thing that worries me about putting a car tire on a motorcycle is this particular ridge right here. You can see here that that's at about a 45-degree angle on where that knuckle is, or ridge, or whatever you want to call it. But you've got about a 45-degree there. And as you're up on that ridge, my assumption is that it's not going to provide very much grip at all as you're, going around a corner and the tire's rotating and turning like that. But I did not take into account the flexibleness of a car tire. It seems to me that these are meant to flex a whole lot more than motorcycle tires are. And what that's going to do is it's going to make the contact patch a lot bigger, and it's going to kind of mush down this knuckle that's here. I don't think it's going to make it handle amazing, but I don't think it's going to be bad as I initially thought, because it's going to compress everything down with just a little bit of pressure. So let's pretend that this board is the road that we're gonna simulate going into a corner. So without any pressure on it, and you start to lean into the corner like that, see how you get to this elbow right here, right when we get up onto this ridge? The board gets very unstable, which in this situation or this example, that would be the bike. But as you kind of come back towards the center, it gets a lot more stable because there's more contact patch with the tire. Now, what I hadn't considered is the tires being much more flexible. And you put a little bit of pressure down on this tire, and you can see that it kind of squats down a little bit there. And what that means is you roll it into the corner, that actual contact patch compresses as well and still stays very large, and it also pushes this ridge back in towards the rim. So what I'm thinking is happening here is as you're going around the corner, that contact patch is just always following the tire, which isn't something that you really get on the average motorcycle tire. And that's what I think is happening. And I think that it's not going to be as bad, at least on the rear, as to what I'm actually expecting. So let's go ahead, let's get this tire chucked into the bike, and then we'll go on a test ride of just the rear tire on the bike, and then we'll try and get that donut and get that onto the front tire, and we'll see how that's gonna go. All right, y'all, I got this rear tire mounted up on here. It was a massive pain to get this on here. Getting the tire on the rim actually wasn't too bad. I've heard some horror stories about it, but getting the tire to seat on the bead took 150 psi of pressure and half a can of WD-40 to finally get it. I just kept having to pump it up and letting the air out, pumping it up and letting the air out, just keeping the lubricant moving and flowing on it. And it eventually popped, and it scared the absolute bejesus out of me. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your own because 150 psi of pressure in a car tire is, definitely not recommended, and you could potentially hurt yourself. Now you can see that this tire, it's actually already squatting just a little bit without me on the bike. So once I get on it, I'm thinking that it's going to end up squishing down a bit more. But yeah, it's pretty good. Let's go ahead, let's take it for a test ride and see how she goes. So here we go. So far, it feels pretty okay. A little bouncy though. All right, here's the first test here. I'll take a right-hand corner. Oh, okay, that felt fine. That felt totally okay. Yeah, this is really bouncy. This isn't a particularly bumpy road, but yeah, I can feel it bouncing a lot. Yeah, over the bumps. It's my buddy Dylan. He's helping us out a little bit today. But yeah, mostly feels okay. It's just a little bit bouncy. Oh, okay. All right. Now we're getting up on the sidewall a little bit. And you can feel it moving around a lot more than a normal bike tire. And the bounciness it's nothing terrible. It's nothing that would really disqualify me from, riding this bike with a car tire on it if it's just on the rear. Especially in these tight little 90-degree corners like this, and you start to get on the gas, you could feel the rear end squat and pinch. Not terrible, not awful. But yeah, it's not bad. You could definitely feel the squat. That might just be cured with a little bit of tire pressure, because we're running about 35 pounds right now, but it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel bad at all. So I went ahead and I grabbed a couple of clips from the GoPro underneath. As soon as you start to put a heavy load on whatever side of the tire that you're turning in on, it really compresses the edge of it down. because there's a lot of play in those sidewalls. And that's what makes it work, is because it's staying flat. It's not actually going up onto that rounded edge. And that's why you just don't fall over whenever you're running a car tire on a motorcycle. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned that, like a lot of other things, the truth tends to be somewhere in the middle. Car tire guys will have you say that it doesn't make any difference at all, and you just get better mileage and it's cheaper. People like me that thought the exact opposite, that it was a square tire and there was no way that it was going to be anywhere decent at all, would say that it was going to be terrible. But I'd like to say that it's somewhere in the middle between both of those. So you can definitely tell that there is a car tire on the rear of a motorcycle whenever you ride it, especially on these big boys. I don't know if I would do it on a smaller bike at all, but on the bigger ones, I don't think it's making that big of a difference. I have noticed that it's particularly different in the low speed 90-degree corners and the very long sweeping corners, but it's not that bad. Now we're going to jump into the front tire, which is what y'all really came here to see. So let's go ahead and jump into that, and hopefully I don't crash. All right, y'all. I got this car tire on the front. Talk about an absolute pain in the ass to get set up again, but here we are, 150 psi through a donut. So look how little sidewall there is, and just look how little that tire looks on the front of this. All right, y'all, here we go. First thing I've noticed straight away, so you really got a wrench on these handlebars here to get this thing to move, just because the whole front tire is just one big contact patch. It's not like a motorcycle tire where there's just, about a quarter-size patch touching the ground. It's really hard to turn this thing. So let's go ahead, let's take this thing for a drive, let's see what happens. Oh, that's terrible. That is absolutely horrific. Oh my God.
What?
Even when you're going in a straight line, you're not really going. Oh, I'm in a tank slapper. Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh, that was not good. That was awful. I've not made it 100 foot away from my driveway. I'm scared to ride this now. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh. All right. Who knew that putting two car tires on a motorcycle would ruin the handling of it? Oh my God, it just doesn't want to turn. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, no. Don't do that. Okay. It just doesn't want to turn. It is just fighting me every which way. It's like duck walking too. I'm going about between 20 and 25. It feels all right until I tip it in, and then it just wants to fall over. Man, oh Jesus, oh no. It feels like it's gonna fall over right now. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh, it's terrible. That's so bad. The entire time that I'm riding it. Hey, you dropped your money. You dropped your money. That was crazy. Just dropped a fish full of cash. It is just constantly. Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. I can't get it to stop. Oh, Jesus. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Not a whole lot quicker. We're still going to be going pretty slow. Oh my God, it's so bad. You can feel the ridge on the front tire. Just the second that you hit it, it just wants to just go boop and just be completely on its side. Oh, no. Oh, it feels so bad. It feels horrific. It's like I'm riding around with two flat tires right now. Here's a little bit of footage of the front tire under load whenever it's going through a corner. And there is a bit more deformation than what I expected, but it definitely wasn't nearly enough. And it's not even close to the amount of deformation that we got from the rear tire whenever we looked at that footage. And I do not think that there is a car tire on the market with more sidewall that will actually fit on the front of this Goldwing. So we're a bit hamstrung with the market. We can't actually do any better. All right, so what did we learn? We learned not to do it again, that's for damn sure. That was terrible. I've never had a bike that wanted to go into tank slappers at 10 miles an hour. I've just never had that experience before. This was a huge mistake. The rear, I could see an argument being made to do the rear. It didn't affect the handling that much, but it was okay. It was decent. But the front, absolutely not, ever. Oh my God, it was terrible. Felt like I was riding a children's tricycle, but it was 900 pounds if I fell off of it. Interesting little experiment that we had here today. Definitely not gonna do it again, that's for sure. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I got a couple of videos coming out in the next month or so look forward to those. Got a little bit more time to sit down and edit video instead of, shooting video and riding motorcycles all day. So be on the lookout for those. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see my next videos that are coming up, because I'll tell you what, they're going to get a lot more crazy than this one. So thanks, y'all. Have a good one. Be safe.